Hello, and thank you so much for joining me today as I provide an update on the Committee of Council Program Review Project. As you may be aware, the Governance and Ethics Committee of Council is currently undertaking a full review of the Committee of Council program, so all of our committees. And as we've made a lot of progress on this project, we thought it was a great time to provide an update to our stakeholders. So thanks so much for tuning in. First, let me quickly introduce myself. My name is Erin Marriner, and I work within the Legislative Services Department at the RMOW. I am the lead staff member on this project. So our team, as well as the Governance and Ethics Committee, have been hard at work on the project for the last six months and are really excited about what we have learned so far and how we've progressed. And we really wanted to share these learnings and this progression with you today. Okay, getting started. So this presentation is approximately 15 minutes long, and we will cover the reason for the Committee of Council Review Project, an overview of the project stakeholders, process, and timeline, the key findings that we've learned to date as themes, the next steps for the project, there'll be a thank you, and then there'll be a place to direct your questions, should you have any at the end. So why are we reviewing the Committee of Council program? To start, the previous council identified the Committee of Council program required review. The review was a recommendation from the 2019-2020 Community Engagement Review. Committees utilize a lot of council and staff resources, as well as staff time of external organizations and time of community members. So there is a desire to ensure this resource commitment is aligned with the value committees provide to the RMOW and to council decision making. And then we also want to develop a consistent framework for the Committee of Council program in terms of purpose, when a committee may be required, streamline some of the administration, recruitment, those types of things, which we'll get into more through this presentation. So an overview of the project purpose is to ensure the committee program has a clear purpose, that it's efficient, effective, and coordinated, that committee topics are relevant and aligned with current municipal priorities that serve our community, and the input of committee members is captured and considered in the municipality's work, and that they feel their time given to committees is valued. So the scope is the 20 standing and select committees of council. Council appointed board, so that's Board of Variance and the Library Board, are outside the scope of the project, but they may benefit from some of the work and processes that we do. And future phases of the project may include external board appointments. So for the project stakeholders, in terms of driving the work, that's staff from the Legislative Services Department. Approving on the project is the Chief Administrative Officer, the Governance and Ethics Committee of Council, and then all formal changes to the program will go to Council for formal endorsement at a regular meeting. Contributing is all committee members, and then we will be keeping kind of committee members, all staff, partner organizations, and public and media informed on the progress of the project and then the end kind of result. So for the project process, we started by gathering data through surveys, interviews, and background research. We had 2 different surveys, one to senior managers and council and one to all committee members. And in total, we got 76 responses and over 200 pages of data, which was really, really informative. There were lots of open-ended questions. We got lots of great insights through that. We also interviewed in person 1 staff member from each committee to get the kind of committee-specific context of things. We then worked to synthesize this data to define what is working well and what requires improvement through workshops, and those have been taking place over the last couple months. We've developed solutions and recommendations for improving the program, and these recommendations will need to go to council for approval. We'll then build the project outputs and make the changes that we feel are necessary, and then present the final project, including project outputs, to council and implement those. And then there'll also be an evaluation component at the end. So in terms of the project timeline, we started the project in very late 2022. We started collecting the background information. We put out the different surveys. We began the interviews with staff liaisons. And then kind of through March, we synthesized all this data that we had gathered. From April to August, we've been focusing on workshops to brainstorm, select, and prioritize recommendations, which is where we are now. So September, we will be presenting recommendations to Council for endorsement on how the program can be improved. And then kind of from October onwards, we'll be building those project outputs and then presenting those once again to Council. And then things will be implemented. And as you can see along the way, we've presented and will continue to be presenting to the Governance and Ethics Committee in the form of a check-in. So the information gathered through surveys, interviews, and background research, as we said, there was a lot of data. So we summarized these into key findings. So we will share the key findings today as themes, as well as the solutions and recommendations that were gathered in the workshops. So please note these themes are what we heard in the data gathering phase. They're not necessarily the case for every committee and every scenario, but these were the things we heard kind of over and over. It is clear in the themes that many of the problems identified with committees could be solved by establishing a committee program framework or standard operating procedures. And just to note, committees add a lot of positive value to the RMRW. However, themes largely focus on areas that require improvement. Some individual committees may require literal improvement, but at a program level, there is a substantial lack of governing process and practice. Using this information as the basis, so we're using this information as the basis for what we need to do to improve the committee program moving forward. So really taking the key findings as themes, finding solutions and recommendations, getting approval for those, and then implementing them. So to start with theme 1, so one thing that came kind of through in this interviews and surveys was that committees do add value. So some of the things we heard was how they allow for a deep dive, they help solve complex problems, provide advice to council, help move actions forward. So lots of different ways that committees add value to the RMRW and to council decision making, and clear direction that we did not want to remove the Committee of Council program in any way as a whole. Theme 2, we heard committees lack a clear purpose. So what we heard, the committee program lacks a clearly articulated purpose. Committee stakeholders are often unsure of what they are working to achieve or meant to deliver to council. Some committees do not function as advisory, and committee topics do not align with council or organizational priorities. So the proposed solutions and recommendations that we workshopped were to develop a clear purpose statement for committees of council, and moving forward to keep this purpose statement front and center as committees do their work. Theme 3, inconsistencies in how committees operate. We heard that the committee program lacks consistency. Each committee operates in a different way. The terms of reference documents are all different. The program is inefficient. Every committee reinvents the wheel, and there are too many committees to effectively coordinate. So in terms of proposed solutions and recommendations, to develop a standard operating procedures for committees that outline consistent processes for tasks and activities with built-in flexibility, and then to develop a standardized terms of reference template with flexibility to create more consistencies in how committees operate. Theme 4, committee topics need review. So we heard that there are too many committees. Too much time is invested in committees compared to their current value. This impacts staff's ability to deliver core responsibilities. Committee topics should align with council priorities. Climate action and housing are missing committee topics. Committee mandates are too narrow. Several committees have completed the work they set out to achieve, so they've met their mandate and should be disbanded. And some of the current committees should have been initiated as working groups So collaborative, not advisory, or task forces, narrow mandate with a short-term timeline. So the proposed solutions and recommendations are to review committee topics for relevance and need, consider having fewer committees that are more closely aligned with council priorities. Theme 5, roles and responsibilities are unclear. So we heard that committee members are not clear on their roles and responsibilities. Specifically, it's unclear who contributes to and sets the priorities for the committee work plan, and the meeting agenda. And it's unclear who drives the work of the committee, whether that's staff or the chair. And the roles between the staff liaison and the chair are particularly unclear. So proposed solutions and recommendations are to develop clear roles and responsibilities of committee members and provide clarity on who does what regarding priorities, work plan, agendas, etc., with a specific focus on the staff liaison and the chair. Theme 6, committee recommendations. We heard that it is not clear how committee recommendations are put forward to council, nor is it clear what council does with the recommendations they receive. So we'd like to confirm the process for committees to put recommendations forward to council and how they are used by council. Theme 7, committee work does not inform council decision making. We heard that it is unclear if council is up to date on the work taking place on each committee and if council uses the information provided by committees when making decisions. And there is no formal reporting out process for committees of council to council or the public. So proposed solution recommendation would be to develop a more robust reporting out process for committees of council to share work plans, learnings, and accomplishments with council. Examples are more detailed minutes, annual updates to council, etc. Theme 8, committees lack diversity. We heard that committees are not representative of the community in terms of membership. There is a lack of diversity, kind of professional, race, ethnicity, age, income, industry, etc. We heard the same organizations are represented on several committees. So proposed solutions or recommendations are to review the committee memberships with the lens of diversity and look at ways we can increase diversity on committees so they are more reflective of our community. Theme 9, facilitation of committee meetings is inconsistent. So we heard that there isn't a consistent approach to facilitation. Committee members would like more room for discussion in meetings. Meetings are focused on information sharing, not on agenda items that relate to policy and strategy. Some members are dominant and the chair does not keep them in check. Committee members attempt to direct staff work plans or make council decisions. Committees discuss or aim to influence operational items or get into the weeds. Facilitation training for staff and the chair is not provided, and there's no physical space at the RMW to support effective facilitation. So proposed solution and recommendation would be to develop a consistent approach to facilitation for all committees that gives room for discussion and feedback, and provide facilitation training to staff and chairs. Theme 10, our final theme, no recruitment or training strategy. We heard that there is no coordinated recruitment strategy for all committees, and committee members do not receive training when they join a committee. Proposed solution and recommendation is to develop a more coordinated recruitment strategy for committees of council and to develop and execute a training and onboarding program for committees of council. So those are our themes. So a few things that we will be working to improve through this project. And as for next steps, so we're going to complete the workshops focused on developing solutions and recommendations for improving the program. We would present these recommendations to council in September. With council's instruction, develop the processes and outputs for put forward in the solutions and recommendations. So this is the bulk of the work. And then hope to have most of this project complete by the end of 2023.
So that wraps our presentation for today. Thank you so much for listening. More information will be provided on this project in the coming months. And questions that you may have from today can be directed to myself, Erin, at emarriner@whistler.ca. Have a great day.